All right, well, Chris, thank you for joining us. Let's get right to it. 2026 is fast approaching. Glasgow is being mentioned as a top contender. Where does the decision stand right now, and how strong of a contender is Glasgow?
So there's been a lot of media talk, as you picked up, on Glasgow, which is hence the question. So we're in, I guess, probably the last stages of conversation, so not over the line yet. So the little conversation's still ongoing, so hopefully very soon.
Okay, and of course there are a lot of talks about the hybrid model as well, between India, Australia and Glasgow. Where does the decision stand on that as well, and how will you take that forward?
So what we're looking at here is as we reset and reframe the games for the future. So in 2030 is our centenary year, and then we're going to 2034. So while there's a lot of focus obviously on 26, we would like to see that as the first step in the resetting and reframing. So you will see hopefully some of the aspects of a sustainable new model coming through, and then you'll see a lot more in 34. So the real focus really of the changes that are being proposed, and we're going to be talking to all our members over the next few weeks at the regional meetings, is taking a lot of the cost out, maybe 60%, using existing venues, existing accommodation, optimising the sport programme, but also sitting down with the government and the host CGA to co-create a games from day one, to make sure that everyone is getting out of it what they want when they host the games. Also talking about all the other events that we do as well. So for some countries, hosting a board meeting or youth games might be something that they have aspirations for, as well as the main games itself.
So this is something that the Federation is taking very seriously and is in talks with, right?
Absolutely. So if you look at what I've just talked to you about, this whole resetting and reframing. So I presented this to the Commonwealth Sports Minister in Paris just before the Olympics. We'll be taking it to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa in a few weeks' time. So yes, the discussions have been really good, very fruitful, very open, very honest, all the way through the last few months with governments and with our members, the CGAs. So yes, we're really excited about the new model, and as I said, with luck, we'll see some of the best attributes coming through in the very short term, definitely by 2030 and 34.
All right, and if we look back, Victoria pulling out, how did you as president, sort of navigate through this challenge, and how are you trying to maintain a smooth transition?
So my predecessor, Dame Louise Martin, she was president when Victoria pulled out. So I was elected towards the end of last year. So the transition effectively has been, see if we can find a host for 26, get them on board as fast as possible, which we're doing. And the best will in the world, running a 2-year selection process in 3 months is always going to be challenging. Hence the fact we need just a tiny bit more time. But it's really been using that decision by Victoria as a catalyst to bring forward the changes, bring in a sustainable model that we've been talking about, and get those over the line, and really re-energise the Commonwealth. I think what it's, yes, was it a shock? Yes, but what did it do? It just really reinvigorated me to make these changes, to talk to our members, to talk to the international federations, to speak with our athletes. We've consulted with everyone as to what would you like to see the Commonwealth Games look like in the long term. As we go into our centenary in 2030, you're going to see a really exciting, energetic model.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, is the vision for the future of the Commonwealth Games. If you're up against an Olympics or an Asian Games, how are you managing to compete with that sort of tournaments? And, when we talk about global participation and inclusivity, what's being done here?
So, quite a few questions in there. So, with the Commonwealth Games sits very neatly alongside the Olympics and the regional games. So it has its place. That hasn't changed at all. For many of our countries, they might send 1, 2, 3 maybe athletes to the Olympics. They send more to us, maybe 10, 15, something like that. So for their athletes, this is a really important part of their development and their pathway, and for their coaches as well. So it has a very, very central place within the Commonwealth sporting infrastructure. And also for some sports and for some athletes, this might be as high as they get. Then looking to the social inclusion side, so the Commonwealth Games itself is integrated. So they have para-athletes and able-bodied athletes. Big focus on that, and that's going to continue, if not. It's certainly absolutely central to what we're doing. But what we're also doing is being quite interventionist for many countries who typically only send a small number to the Paralympics. We're saying, here in the Commonwealth Games, we can help you get those athletes. We can help train your coaches, give support to your athletes. And we've been doing that really successfully all the way through in a groundbreaking project called GAPS, which is our disability inclusion programme. Fantastic results at Birmingham, and that'll carry on. So I think the Commonwealth Games has a really special place within the sporting infrastructure, both for the Commonwealth, but also wider because it's so socially inclusive.
Yeah. And since you talk about the future so enthusiastically, I want to ask, where do you see India's role being here, given that India has played a key role in the past for the Commonwealth Games?
What's the key role? It's the short answer. Working really closely with our largest member in size, India, is really important to me. I love India. I came here a lot for the Youth Games and then the Commonwealth Games. So I've been here lots of times. So being president now, coming out here and meeting with both the CGA and the government and ministers and officials has been very exciting, very fruitful, really encouraging, because I see a really close working relationship developing, not only on games but on all the other projects we do. So it's relevant every day of the year, not just that last bit as we run into a Commonwealth game. So we've had a lot of discussions about a lot of areas that we can work closely together on going forward.
You talk about the future quite positively, but do you think there could be a chance that there's no 2026 Commonwealth Games?
There's always a chance of anything, and if that was to happen, we have a fantastic programme leading into 2030, whether it's youth games. The Commonwealth Games and the Commonwealth sport movement is resilient, it's relevant to the Commonwealth, to our athletes, to the people within the Commonwealth. So now I see a really optimistic future going forward as we build into 2030.
How are you planning to include local communities in the Commonwealth Games going forward?
So do you mean local communities when they're hosting?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, that is the key part of co-generation. So when you sit down with a host, potential host going forward, and you say, you want to host the games in, I don't know, let's make it up, 2034. How's that going to impact your local community? What do you need to do? So to give a really good example, in Birmingham 2022, one of the initiatives was around getting people into work who had not had a job before, who hadn't got those skills. So it's called the Job Skills Academy. So we sat down and worked with them, and they had jobs within the games themselves, and once that finished, then they got another job. So it was taking the marginalised community, sometimes people who've been left behind, bringing them into the workforce, and we work really closely with the host community and the organising committee to do that. So engaging local communities is absolutely crucial, because they're the ones who are going to benefit from hosting. They're the closest to it. So it gives great opportunity, I think. But you've got to plan it. You can't let it happen by accident. And that's part of co-creation.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Chris. That's all I needed.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.